The Love, Life, and Lose Weight podcast will teach you the art and science of changing your habits around food. If you know what to do but can't figure out why you're just not doing it, this is the right podcast for you. I'm your host, Advanced Certified Weight and Life Coach, Heather Beardsley. I've helped hundreds of women just like you figure out how to think and eat like a normal eater, lose weight, and love life on the journey to goal weight and beyond. Hey, welcome to episode 15. In this episode, we're going to talk about mind control and weight loss. The two do go together. And controlling how you're thinking is really key to changing your habits around food. So we know that if you need to lose weight, the vast majority of my clients have a habit of emotionally overeating, or they have developed a habit of overeating just because they like it. So we're talking about habit change, which has to do with thinking patterns. In episode 14, I went over, and if you haven't listened to that, I suggest you go back, listen to that one first, because this one is the bookend to episode 14. But in general terms, episode 14 went over the big overview of habits of thinking, patterned thinking habits that we learn to adapt and cope with life, which there are certain ones of them that tend to result in overeating to feel better from how those habits of thinking make us feel. And I introduced to you one tool in that episode, which was allowing emotions. And I took you through an exercise to help you allow emotions, and it's just my way my structure that I tend to use, and I wanted to take you through that too. So this episode is about the second tool, which is the part about mind control. I was first introduced to the concept of mind control in my yoga class, my yoga teacher training, and I'm not suggesting that you do yoga. There's many ways to sort of harness the mind to get the results that you want, but one of the ways is through yoga. And so what does yoga do? Well, the asana yoga that we talk about, the one with the postures, where you're on your mat and you're moving your body with your breath, has to do with single pointed focus. In certain styles of yoga, especially the traditional ones, you have a drishti, which is a point of focus that you focus your visual point on. You pair that with the breath as you move through the movement. And so those three aspects are what can train the mind to sustain focus over a long period of time, especially over years of practice. I find after 21 years of practice, when I'm on my mat, my breath will immediately start going into the deep ujjayi breath that they teach in yoga. And I tend to let all the extraneous thinking about my life and about what's happening go. And I'm able to single-pointedly focus on, for the most part, the posture that I'm trying to achieve and move through. And it's the same with meditation. Meditation, instead of like yoga, moving the body, meditation involves three aspects. One is a still body. Instead of like yoga, where you open your eyes and you fix on a single point of vision, you close your eyes in meditation. And the aspect they have the same is the breath. In yoga, it's a deliberate breathing in and out, but in meditation, it just allows your breath to go naturally. It just finds its own natural rhythm. So the question becomes, how do we, if we're sitting still, how do we find a point of focus? And there's many different styles of meditation that offer different kinds of focus. Like in the most basic ones, they're sort of talking you through the meditation. And that is you're just focusing on what is being said and you're sort of following those directions. So that involves like active thinking. And that is a way of sort of distracting you from or taking you away from your natural automatic thoughts that you would be thinking. Like you might be in a guided meditation, be following along with the instructions to breathe and focus and let your thoughts go, and then you'll have a thought pop in and you might follow that thought for a minute, and then you'll come back to the guided focus. And that's a great way to start with meditation. I have noticed over the years and decades now of doing yoga that there are many people who would get up at the end of the yoga class and walk out before the lying down part, which is sort of like a lying down meditation, where you just are expected to just kind of lay there. It's called Shavasana, and just be still with your thoughts and let the practice sort of sink in. So it's the grand finale. It is the final yoga pose, which is that you're physically tired and you've gone through a long point of focus, so that at the end you can truly allow your mind to relax and your mind to kind of stop its job of thinking on purpose or even think automatically. The goal of all meditation is to use various access points to allow the cadence or the frequency of your thinking thoughts, whether they're on purpose or automatic, just to slow down. And so what I'm going to do for you today is just a 10-minute meditation, and I'll do kind of a mix between guiding you in the beginning and allowing the time to just pass as well. Okay? And so you don't have to worry about your watch or anything like that. I'll just call the time from beginning to end. It will be 10 minutes. But before we do it, I just want to remind you that there's no one right or wrong way to do meditation. It is a practice, which means it is something that the more you do it, the more conditioned your physical body and your mind become to accessing that point of mental relaxation. I am trained in transcendental meditation. I took a local class and was trained in the specific method that came from a yogi from India. He was the same guy that the Beatles followed. And it's quite popular. That kind of meditation is the one that really worked for me, in that what they do is that they give you sort of a word that doesn't mean anything to you, but it is given to you. And what you do is you just repeat the phrase over and over and over again during your meditation. And what that does for the brain to allow it to relax is that you're thinking this word just on repeat, but the mind doesn't make much of it because it's not attached to any meaning. It's just a sound that means nothing. And so after a little while, pretty quickly, the brain becomes bored of attending to a sound that it doesn't know what it means. So this is another way to access. You could make up your own word, your own phrase if you like the sound, and just do that. Vipassana meditation is a kind of meditation where they focus as you're in meditation. Your point of focus is right where your nostrils meet your upper lip. And in meditation, you're always keeping your mouth closed and you're breathing through your nose. And so that point of focus, you sort of can feel the breath going in and out across your upper lip, and you just focus there. There's unstructured meditation you can do where maybe you hear the air conditioner or the heater running or the dishwasher, and you can just focus on that sort of white noise and just bring yourself back. That's sort of the anchor point, because we expect in meditation that the intent is to relax. And so we sort of relax the face and the muscles around the eyes and things like that. And then we just say, okay, like we sort of give our brain the directive to kind of stop thinking. But it's like just a gentle request. And the brain, it takes a while to just sort of let things slow. And just bringing your attention back to that focus point, whatever you're focusing on, will over time make the momentum of thinking slow. And then all of a sudden you'll find that you're thinking about something on purpose again. Well, maybe what happened earlier that day or what have you. And so we just want to practice releasing the thought and letting it go. So you can kind of like just in a passive way observe the thoughts that the brain is bubbling up during a relaxing time. Those thoughts are sort of top of mind, and maybe they've been waiting for a moment to grab your attention. And so you can just allow them to pass without attending to them too much. So why is meditation mind control? And why is this the second tool? What does this have to do with weight loss? Well, it has to do with weight loss because we know that when we have an intention to not eat past enough, and yet we find ourselves eating when we're not hungry, it's usually because there's an unconscious habit that's playing out, which tends to happen when we're not feeling great for those of us who emotionally overeat. Because maybe we have anxiety, or we're tired, or we're not feeling well. It could be a lot of different negative emotions. But if you're eating in order to feel better, we need to allow the pattern of thinking that is creating the feeling of not feeling good that you want to eat over. We want that to slow down. Now, I'm not saying to try to meditate in the moment when you're really angry or pissed off. That's not really going to work. That's a space for you to use the allowing emotions exercise that in the F word episode of episode 14. Meditation is a tool that is best used proactively at the beginning of your day when there's not much happened. So anytime from the moment you wake up until I think about lunchtime is a great time to do it. Most of us, maybe it's not so convenient to meditate later in the day, but if it works for you, that's great. I kind of bookend this habit at the tail end of my lunch. I find that it works really well, especially if I have the thought that I want to eat more lunch than I really need. I often say to myself, all right, well, let's just go meditate for 10 minutes. And then if we're still hungry, then we'll see if we want more. And, 9 times out of 10, usually 10 times out of 10, I'm just not hungry. My brain needed to rest. There was some momentum of thinking that was causing some kind of emotional tension that I have had a habit of wanting to eat to kind of get relief from that. So this is how you use mind control. You allow the pattern of thinking to slow during meditation so that your brain can just rest and hopefully access your push the button in the resting and the meditation of your body to activate your parasympathetic nervous system, which will bring you into a state of calm and rest, where the body feels safe and, you may not feel as urgent of a desire to overeat later in the day if you've done your meditation. that might be hard to believe if you've never really done the meditation, but it not only works for weight loss, it works for relationships. It works for, the tension of parenting and the pressure, time pressures at work, what have you. I remember when I made the investment to learn transcendental meditation, it was after I heard Jerry Seinfeld do, he was on YouTube, you can look it up on YouTube, talking about transcendental meditation and how he learned it in college. At the time, it was just a method that was taught for free. Now it's a nonprofit, and the profits go to help, especially veterans with PTSD, learn transcendental meditation. So it helps a lot with PTSD. But anyway, I heard Jerry Seinfeld talk about, especially during his run as producer and star of the Seinfeld show, and that show was on for so many years. I mean, it was like a very busy schedule for him, and he had to wear many hats, and they did a lot of episodes. And every day, he would go after lunch and he would do his meditation. And he said it's like plugging yourself into like the electrical grid, that resting your brain, allowing yourself to meditate and let the active thinking that we require our brain to do in conscious awareness as we move through our day, allows the brain to regenerate its energy in a way that it doesn't really do that when you're sleeping. Like sleeping regenerates different parts of your brain, but so meditation is like sleep or rest for your conscious brain. So I just thought that was really cool. And I was like, gosh, if I could learn that tool, there's probably nothing I can't do. And I can't say that I've been as consistent with meditation as I have with my yoga practice. And I think that's just because I'm probably more into active movement than passive movement, meaning, or passive activities like meditation. But to be honest with you, I think the one that's best for me is the meditation. So without too much more explanation, I hope I've done an okay job of convincing you why it's so worth it to just start with 10 minutes every day. Find a time of day that you can dedicate to this, and you'll be amazed just how quickly it goes. And at a minimum, just trying to stick with it is super easy. Number one, you don't have to sit cross-legged. You don't have to sit in the middle of a room. You can sit in a chair comfortably. You can sit cross-legged if you want to. Oftentimes what I do is I go in my bed and I sit back against the headboard. I don't recommend that you lay your head back on anything. I kind of want your neck just to be free in the air, but like your back can be supported totally. I like to also put a pillow on my lap and rest my arms there. So you can go ahead and pause the podcast until you're in your spot, and then when you get ready, just hit play again and we will begin. Okay, so you're in your spot. Just get comfortable. I want you to turn off your phone. You don't need any kind of recording whatsoever. So the first thing I want you to do is just close your eyes. I want you to find all those little muscles in your face that are tight and just relax them, especially the ones around the eyes and around your mouth. And just let them relax and do a scan down your body. And as you scan downward towards your feet, if you're holding on to any muscular tension, just sort of let the muscle just relax. I want you to close your lips and just breathe naturally through your nose. You can focus on the point of inhale and exhale right at the base of your nose where it meets your upper lip. And you can just focus there on the breath going in and out. If you have something that you like to mentally focus on, you can do that. If you have a word or something you want to repeat, or an affirmation, you can do that just to kind of center you. Just being with how things are right now. And I want you to just allow any thinking to slow down. I want you to picture in your mind's eye, with your eyes closed, that blank space that happens, that darker space when you close your eyes. I want you to just put a window in there, and I want you to open the window. And if any thoughts pop up, you can just allow the thought to go out the window and just release it. We're not holding on to any thoughts here. We're not thinking on purpose. We're just allowing the mind to rest. Just go back and release any muscles that have tightened up again, automatically around your eyes or your mouth, and just let those relax again. Let your shoulders drop and let your hands just open up naturally without clenching anything. And just focus on that spot at the base of your nose. There's nowhere to go, and there's nothing to do. You just be. If your thoughts have returned, just let them out the window. Return to the little muscles on your face and just release them. And center yourself back to the spot at the base of your nose. And just focus on the breath going in and out. And just keep bringing your awareness back to your word or your phrase or the breath. We're going to take just about a minute to come out. Don't want to do anything sudden at the end of your meditation. You can just take a slightly deeper inhale. You can just briefly open your eyes and then shut them back again. I want you to notice how your body and your mind has slipped into a space of what we call home base. Your nervous system is right there in a state of well-being. And this is available to you every time you meditate. And take another deep breath. You can open your eyes. If you want to shut them again, wait another 10 seconds before opening. You can do so. So you can finish your meditation practice with an intention to bookmark this place of well-being, of coming back to yourself, because you are not your thoughts and you are not your feelings. You are something deeper that lives within you, that is quiet and knowing. And when you take time to quiet the mind and slow the body, we get closer to the essential you. And touching there happens when there is no thought that is being thought. You're just being. You're not thinking. You're just being. You're breathing, and you're sitting, and you're letting the mind rest. This is a place that's the beginning destination is always with us, and it's there at the end. So thank you so much for going through this meditation exercise with me. I hope it was able to just be a small slice of a practice that is there for you to develop into something even greater. When I'm in the habit of meditating regularly, it's the best part of my day. It's when I get to come home to me, even if it's just for 10 minutes. So see how you do with it. Visit me on Instagram at Thrive in Midlife and let me know how your first meditation with me went, if you were able to do it or if you just did it on your own. Let me know what meditation does for you. You may have a different experience than mine, and I'm always curious to hear how you plan to use the tools, especially in weight loss, or how you have them in place now, and share with others who might be more curious. Okay, so stay focused on your meditation. One of two tools that can really help you with your weight loss journey. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for following my work. It means so much to me. Oh, also, feel free to ask me questions via DM. You can message me on Instagram, or you can leave me a comment with a question. And I want to do a Q&A episode where I'll be anonymously answering your anonymous questions in a future episode. I think that would be really helpful for all of you to hear questions and how a coach would help coach you through those. Okay, so stay focused. So long. Hey, if this episode resonated for you, then let's connect. Visit hbeardsley.com/subscribe. That's hbeardsley.com/subscribe and get on the list. You'll get a free gift, periodic coaching, plus advance notice of in-person events and workshops.